Alrighty, good afternoon everyone, and thank you for joining us for our 5th Sunday session today. Today I'm with the beautiful Jessica, and we're going to be talking a lot about physical and mental health and Jessica's journey through her life. So I basically just want to start off, Jess, for you just to talk a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you're doing now, to get the audience to sort of understand who you are.
Awesome. Okay. My name's Jess. At this point in time, I'm playing for the Women's Broncos NRLW team. I play club footy through Tweed Seagulls. I'm a hairdresser. And yes, I have a cat and I like my cat. But yeah, that's a lot about me.
Speaking of the rugby league background, so how did you get into rugby league?
So I've actually come from rugby unions. So rugby union sevens. I played a lot of rugby sevens. Last year, Tweed Seagulls had a team, and I was like, before that, I was like, no, I'm never playing league. Stuff it. And then a couple of the girls in the Tweed team were like, oh, come have a crack, you know. And I was like, yeah, it will help my sevens, like my tackling. So I came down to the training. At this time, Kelvin was a coach, and so played a couple of games with the Tweed Seagulls. Started really enjoying it, and then yeah, from there I made State of Origin team, and then Brisbane Broncos last year. Unfortunately, I had a massive concussion in my first game, and I was ruled out for 6 weeks. So this year, fingers crossed, I don't get any concussions, nothing like that, and I can keep playing. But yeah, that's pretty much still trying to learn the game, but yeah,
getting there. Like playing the game?
I actually love the people around me. I found the culture of league is amazing. Like, I always thought, you know, sevens was amazing culture, but coming from sevens to league, it's just so different. It's I really enjoy the atmosphere of league. It's really good.
I guess rugby league is not typically a women's sport if we look back at history. How did you go, I guess, fitting into that different environment where women were starting to play the game?
Yeah, look, coming from, you know, having sevens and always it being like a boys' sport and everything like that, then coming to league, I think, you know, there was a couple of things that people have said to me, and it was like, you know, the women before us who paved the way, they were the ones that sort of, they would have their full-time jobs and they would pay for them to come play. Like they would have to pay, you know, to play. And then all this stuff, and I just think like they've made it so correct in the way that, you know, it's the women before us have done the hard work that we get to actually play, and it's just awesome. Like I think you'll ask anyone who's made it in league and saying the same thing. It's because of the women before us. They were the ones that did the hard work. We're just sort of get to, you know, go with it.
Yeah. Did you receive any backlash or sort of negative media about joining rugby league as a woman?
No, I haven't. I mean, I sometimes get a lot of people saying like, you know, because I am a bit smaller, they're like, oh yeah, you know, and I'll say, oh, I'm playing second row. They're like, oh, what, you? Like, you're tiny. And I'm like, yeah, well, whatever. But that's probably the only sort of thing, like, oh, you play league, like looking at me, and I'm like, yeah. So that's probably the only sort of thing. And it's never anyone that I'm close with. Everyone knows I like getting into it. So it's more the outside people that are like, oh, I didn't picture you to being into that. So yeah.
And do you find that, I guess, your body would change in order to fit the rugby league and the game? Do you find that you accept that your body is changing in a different way to be a strong woman?
That's actually something I found really hard. Sevens, like, it is very, like, in sevens, you want to be quite slender. So, you know, you want to hit around the 70 kilos. So I was always trying to stay in the 70 kilos. And then coming to league, they're like, yeah, you know, you have to sort of put on a bit more weight. Like you've got to, you know, put on a bit more. So I've tried really hard to sort of get up in my weight, but I do find it very hard to sort of look and be like, wow, I'm so heavy, especially because I found it very hard to like get past a certain way. Like it was hard for me to try and get to where I'm at.
Yeah. Do you think social media and looking at that space and comparing yourself to women that might look a different way, did that affect you as well?
100%, and especially because I was really body conscious. Like, you know, I was so like I thought I had to be a certain way. Like if I didn't wake up and like, you know, if I was like sitting there and I could feel a roll, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm fat. Like, you know, and looking at other girls and being like, what, they're that way, why don't I look like that? Like, and you know, having to sort of feel like I had to be this certain way to be looked at.
Yeah. And you did mention to me earlier that you at one stage did develop eating disorder symptoms. How was that experience for you and how did that come about?
So I would say it would be probably a couple of years ago now. I finished school and I was playing rugby union. So I was really into that, sort of, you know, didn't do much with work and everything. So I was 75 kilos when I finished school and everything. I got down to 60 kilos and I was playing union, and all I got was people saying, wow, you look so good. You look so good. And I started making teams, like, you know, like I was making teams beforehand, but they were really saying, you look good. Your body looks good. You look good. So I got into this mind frame, like this thing that, you know, I would eat a crusket for most of the day and some berries. If I had a pizza, it was the end. Like if I had anything, I would cry to my partner and say, I'm fat. Like I look fat. Like I wouldn't eat carbs. There was no way I'd have any sort of pasta, bread, nothing. It was, you know, a couple of crackers sort of thing like that. And I'll do all this workout and overtrain. Like I'm really bad at overtraining because I'm like, I don't want to be fat. So when I was 60, I had to, it's still something now that I struggle with. And I have seen psychology about like, I have to be this certain way to be noticed. Like I can't be, So I found that really hard to be like people telling me you look good when I'm 60 kilos. It's like, was I not good before? Like, So that was something I had to overcome because I wasn't healthy. 60 kilos, like that's ridiculous. Like,
What do you think triggered that for you to lose so much weight? You said there are a lot of people commenting saying that, you know, you look great. Do you think that was the only thing?
Like I love training. I definitely love training. You know, I was training because I was bored and I want to be fit. Like I love training. But then it was definitely the thing of people were saying things, saying like, wow, you look good. Like, you know, you'd post a photo and you'd get all these likes. Like people would be like, wow, your body's insane. You're like, you know, and so of course you're going to be like, oh, okay. Like people like me this way. And so it was sort of, and coaches and saying that, you know, so body has always been something that I've struggled with. And
when you said that you restricted the carbs was the main thing, where did you get that information that carbs was a big bad food?
I would look it up on like on the internet. I would say, you know, a quickest way to lose weight, or how do I not get fat, whatever the thing is. Like I was going into chemists and getting meal replacements. Like I was 60 kilos trying to get meal replacements, and then the lady at the chemist was like, you don't need this. And I was like, I do need this, like so I don't have to eat, like I need that. And she was just looking at me and I was like, what? Like, you know, in my eyes I was, you know, I didn't have those ripped abs, so I was like, no, I need to get ripped abs. Like there can't be any fat on me.
Did you think this started at school, or it more sort of grew outside of school?
I think it was after school. You know, in school I was, you know, I'd have Maccas, I'd have whatever I want. Like I was, you know, I was never big, anything like that. Like I was 75 kilos and at that time I was oblivious, but it was after school, and, you know, you're sort of like, oh, you finish school and you're sort of, you're not doing anything. And then, so, just sort of, I focused on sport, training, everything like that. And just sort of went on from there.
Yeah. And how did you get out of that tough period?
I think I don't know, I had to, like, it was getting too much. Like, I started to slowly, you know, have that carb and say, it's okay. Like, I'd always fall back into it. Like, even to this day, me having carbs and stuff, I find it a little bit in the back of my head. There's always that chat, or like, now that I'm back at being, they wanted me to be at this certain weight, like, you know, a strong 75, a strong 80 sort of thing. Like, it's still a little bit in the back of my head. Oh, you know, you're looking a bit big here. Like, you've changed. But yeah, I think it just over time, and like, I went through a time where I was very like sick in a way. And I couldn't work. I couldn't do anything. I went through a lot of depression, anxiety. I had to see a psychologist for like twice a week. And of course, food came up, and I'd start getting in a loop where it was like, I would feel shit. I'd eat, then I'd feel shit about eating. And it was just a circle of, you know, all this stuff. And yeah, so she helped me sort of understand that I can do that stuff. I train and all that stuff. So yeah, I think it's just slowly after time and having support with, you know, my family and stuff, like saying that I'm an idiot. But yeah, just all that stuff helped.
Yeah. You said that you suffered from depression and anxiety. Was that mainly to do with the body, or was there other things that came up for you that you needed to help?
Look, I think it was just that time in my time and everything. It just sort of hit me. I don't know what really caused it, but it definitely hit me for 10. At the time, I was playing a lot of sevens. I was in my head, like, I had people telling me, oh, you're going to make the Australian team. Yeah, you have to do this to make the Australian team. So in my head, I had all this stuff that, you know, I have to do this to be. So I put all this pressure on me, and I was working full time with training and all this stuff. And it ended up like I couldn't go to training without crying. Like, I would just ring my parents up crying over nothing, and I don't know why. Like, I'd come home and I'd be crying. I couldn't get out of bed. Like, I had to take about a month off work. I could not get out of bed, anything like that. And it just, yeah, so from that point, like, I went on antidepressants, anti-anxiety tablets, everything like that. And I've got it under control now. But yeah, that definitely, you know, and because I couldn't train, I started getting into the thing of, oh yeah, okay, now I'm getting fat again. So it was just like a whole cycle. Yeah.
Do you find that, is that pressure healthy for any person?
No, but I think, you know, the pressure comes with sport, you know, and I think I'm lucky enough to have accepted it, but I have an awesome support network. Like, you know, my partner, he is the best. He's so good, and he helps me understand and just supports me. Same with my family. Like, I'm really lucky. Like, I'm very open about what I'm like, and, you know, how I feel, all that stuff. And so, yeah, they know if, you know, I'm not feeling right, they know.
Yeah. Have you always been open about how you're feeling?
Yeah. Like, I think ever since it did hit me, like, I was very open with it. Like, I was like, you know, if I needed help, I need help. Like, and, you know, there's people out there that don't know that this is happening to them. And like, I have so many friends that, you know, they'll say something to me. I'm like, that's what I was feeling. Like, I got help. Like, you know, and it changed. It helped me. Like, as much as I joke around about my crazy pills and my anti-anxiety and all that stuff, I have to have them, and I've accepted that. And, you know, I would talk to anyone about it, because it's so good to know that, you know, you can't help it. It's something that, you know, it is.
Yeah. Why do you think so many people don't talk about it?
I think because sometimes it's been put as like a trend, like, oh yeah, you're depressed. Oh yeah, it's just a phase. Like, I've heard a couple of things, like, people just, like, they may have depression, but they'll say, oh, I have depression, it's fine. I'm like, you know, this is what I say, like, if, you know if you have depression, and I just think that you should just talk about it. Like that, yeah, I don't know, it's just a weird thing why people don't. But yeah, everyone's different, that's what I think. But if it takes one person saying, yeah, I have it, maybe that next person may say it and support another person.
Yeah. I want to talk about a little bit about your recovery and how you got through these difficult times, and where you're at now. So in terms of, obviously you've had some eating disorders during your younger years, and I want to ask now, are you completely comfortable with your body right now?
No, I mean, look, I still look at myself and I'm like, oh gosh, like there's days where I'm like, I can't eat carbs. Like, and I'm at this point where I'm like, I'll train so hard and then I'll be like, oh, can I eat that? And they're like, you're training so much, you can. I'm like, yeah, but what's healthier? Like, what's better? Like, and that's just because it's a habit of, you know, I'm like, oh no, I won't eat that. I'm not eating that. Like, if I go out for dinner and there's a bowl of chips, I won't eat that. Like, unless, you know, it's just something that I'm like, no, I'm not getting fat. And it's still to this day something that I do. But like, then I'm like, okay, I can treat myself today. But like, I mean, yeah, it's just something that like, I'm like, if I have a beer, I'm a lot more relaxed about it, obviously. And I will have it because I'm like, okay, I'm not thinking about it because I'm having a beer. I'm enjoying it. But if I'm like not having a beer or something, I'm a bit like, oh no.
So if heaps of other people are telling you that you're not fat, how come you don't listen to them and you listen to yourself?
I think it's just the thing of you're just saying that. You're just saying that to make me feel good. Like, I'll go past a mirror and I'll look at myself and like I'll be sitting in the car and I'll grab my stomach. Like, it's just something, you know, to this day, like I'm the fittest I've been in forever. Like, I'm doing big weights, I'm doing all this stuff, but I will still grab my stomach and I will be like, I can feel rolls. And I'll be sitting in the car. I'll be like, I can feel rolls. Like, you know, I'll look in the mirror and go, oh my God, like, why am I looking like this? But I'm, you know, I'm probably the fittest I've ever been, but I'll still do that. And people can say, oh, you know, you look fit, all this stuff, like you're looking really well. I'm like, yeah, but I could be better. I could be, you know, I could be doing this. So, yeah.
And obviously that you play with, in rugby league, play as a team of women. Is this like a common conversation that you have with other women about your body?
Well, the funny thing was I was talking yesterday to a couple of my teammates because I was like, you know, I'm having a meeting with you and I thought, oh, I was so happy to have a meeting with you because of what you've gone through and everything. I think it's amazing. Like, and especially, you know, showing such raw content of what happened to you and how you did it. I just thought it was amazing. And I was saying like, you know, she can do this. This is awesome. Like, and I was talking to another girl saying like, you know, how much pressure there is because like you're in the media and people follow you on Instagram and like a couple of the girls are just, their bodies are insane. And so they're known for their bodies. And then like, I'm like, would you find it hard to be like, oh, you know, people saying stuff about your body? Like that's what they sort of associate you with. And they're just like, yeah, like, but I think you have to ask the questions for it to be brought up in the convo.
Yeah. And are other girls in the team, are they conscious of their body as well?
Look, I think there's a lot of joking around. Like, you know, I think they're like, you're athletes. Like the people around, there's never really negative anything. Like there's joking body, but it's never, I don't think anyone's ever really said anything where I'm like, oh, no, don't even. Like, no, I don't think it's a massive thing. I think we're all just pretty, you know.
So if you support other women and I guess appreciate their bodies and let them know that they're beautiful, why don't you do it to yourself?
I don't know. Like, I just think, you know, you're your own worst critic. I'm always like, yep, I could be better. I could be, you know, I could be a different way. I could, if I didn't have, you know, that kebab or whatever, I could have those abs or, you know, I think, and then I think it depends if you are so body conscious. Some people don't care. Some people just, and I envy the people that can be like, I fucking love my body. It's amazing. Like, you know, but then you see other stuff and you're like, oh, I want to be like that. Or yeah.
Do you feel like you have to live up to a woman's rugby league body?
yes and no. Like, you know, I'm always going to be a bit different to your typical, like, I'm a bit taller and I am a bit skinnier than a lot of, like, not skinnier, but like people look at me and go, oh, you can handle a tackle. And I'm like, yeah, you know, I can. But it's just hard. You never know. You never know what it is. And there's so many different body shapes. But when you're playing, you don't notice that stuff. And like, yeah.
Yeah. And so you're currently playing for the Brisbane Broncos, is that correct?
Yeah.
How's that experience been for you?
I love it. I love to train. I love to, you know, push myself in trainings and playing. Like, if I could play all the time, I would. Like, it's just, I love doing that stuff. You won't see me just sort of, it's hard for me to sit around. So I really enjoy the training and pushing myself and playing with the girls. And yeah, so it's been really good.
Do you think you have to be mentally and physically tough to play rugby league?
Yes, 100%. Especially at this level, you have to make sure, they say there's something could flick the switch. And so that's like, you can go from one area to another area where you're just training and making sure you're putting in every effort. Like, you can't muck around. It's a very serious, yeah, it's like, I think, yeah, semi-professional, like, you know, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Do
you think it takes more mental strength than physical strength to play the game of rugby league?
Yeah, I think with any sport it does. You know, you've got to seriously, the nerves you get before a game, and you've got to control them. And it's hard because, you know, in training and stuff, you'll get pulled up for every little thing that you do wrong. And so you feel like, you know, far out, I can't do anything right. Like, there's been a couple of times, like, in the car, I'll be like, oh my God, why am I even doing this? Like, me and my friend will have dramatic little spits where we're like, oh my God, why are we doing this? And all that stuff. But you just sort of, yeah, you just got to get over it, and you've got to learn how to deal with that stuff. And because they're going to tell you the truth, like, it's no sugarcoating, like, oh, you know, next time catch that ball. They're like, you can't drop that fucking ball. Like, it's down to the point of, you're not playing well enough, you have to play well enough. And yeah, so you've got to understand how to do that. And especially, like, you know, the mental challenge of you thinking you're super tired, but you've got to make that run and you've got to make that tackle. So knowing that it's in your head, and yeah, stuff like that. Like, I was really lucky. My dad always pushed me through everything. And the one thing that he said to me was, it's all in your head. And to me, that is like, you know, when you're dying and you're about to make that next tackle, and the first thing your brain's going to tell you is, you can't make that tackle. Like, you're tired, you're too tired. And it's like, no, it's all in your head. You're going to make that tackle. You just have to get past that. You know, your body can do it. It's your head holding you back.
What do you think that there is a fine line though between, I guess, yes, that mental side of things, but then also looking after yourself and going, okay, no, this pressure is too much. I'm constantly being told things that probably is not a healthy messaging for me.
Yeah. And like, yes and no sort of thing. Like, I guess with the sort of getting that pressure, you also learn how to sort of take it in and cope with that pressure. So like, you know, I found with that pressure, like, okay, I take it on and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I'll make sure I work on that. And I think that's what the difference is. Like, a lot of the girls have learned ways to cope, because if you can't cope with it, you're not going to sort of make it in that sense, because there's going to be, you know, criticism, everything like that in sport, and especially in this level. So you just sort of have to find out how to cope with it and stuff.
Yeah. Do they teach you how to cope with the mental side of things and like your mental health while you're in camps?
Yeah, 100%. They're really good. They have this whole like, we have our own wellbeing guy there that we can talk to whenever. And they're in camps, every camp, there is always a wellbeing guy. There is always someone, you know, that can talk to. And the girls there, they're always like, you can talk to us, like our teammates and stuff, and like, you know, how to take time to relax. And, you know, and there's always eating things on, you know, you guys are correct, right, you guys are okay, because I'm guessing that being a certain way in league and eating is a big problem, because they're in every camp. There's always a camp about, you know, being a certain way, like eating a certain way, all that stuff.
Yeah. Are those strict guidelines, do you reckon it encourages a diet culture, or it's more about healthy eating?
I just think it's healthy eating. They're just like, they give us sort of a guide on, you know, like your pyramid sort of thing. Like, you should have this many carbs, but in a good way. Like, you know, they just say, you're athletes, you know, you guys know what is good, what's not good. Like, don't go have 2 quarter-pounder meals a day. Like, that's probably what they're like. But, you know, they're always, you leave there going, oh, okay, that's cool. And like game day prep and everything sort of, yeah.
To be an athlete, do you believe that you have to be prepared to take on that tough mentality of messaging from coaches and people around you?
Messaging as in, sorry, what did you mean?
Yeah, so as in like people, I guess as you are saying how you're being in the footy environment, it's almost the criticism. Do you have to be prepared to take that in any sporting environment?
Yeah, I reckon, especially, you know, and that's what I found the difference was between, you know, semi-professional and your clubland sort of thing is, you know, you have to get ready. They're not doing it to be horrible. They're not doing it to attack you. They're doing it to get you better. And that's, you know, that's 100% what it is. They're not doing it to make you feel like horrible. Like, they're just saying, this is what's going to make you get better. This is what we need you to do for the team. And I think, yeah, you have to accept that and know that. And yeah, I like a lot of the girls, we all know that. Like, it's, you know, it's not fun hearing that, but that's what makes us different to club, is we can take that and you just learn how to take it on, not as them attacking you, but as in, okay, this is what we've got to do.
Yeah. Do you think women's rugby league, is different to men's rugby league?
Yes. And I think because, you know, we're trying to prove a point. We're doing it for the reason of the women before us. We go back to the women before us who did this. They had to pay to play. They had to, you know, they set this all up for us, where, you know, this isn't our job. We do full-time jobs. We come to training, then we go away, you know, where with the men, it's their job. Like, you know, we try and put everything in it. We're going out there and we think of the younger girls that we're going to be, they're looking up to us saying like, you know, we can do this, you can do this. We're not taking it away from the men, but that's their job. That's their full-time job. They go there, they get to train. Like, we've got to still work. Some of us still have to look after families, and then we go to training, and then we go home, and then we do it again.
Do you think it's unfair?
You know, it would be awesome if we could do this as a full-time job. That would be absolutely amazing. Like, you know, it shows that we put in so much effort and everything like that, like just to get where we are, and the support that we've gotten. But yeah, like, you know, it'd be cool if we could take the next step and do it. But I think the NRL are doing awesome into supporting and taking the next steps and everything like that.
What do you tell young girls that are aspiring rugby league players?
That there is an awesome pathway. Just get in there, just train, you know, it's all in your head. Like, I just think, you know, train hard and you'll get the results that you want. Just don't give up. Like, you know, the amount of times I've missed out on teams, and then I'm like, you could give up, but it's like, you just keep going, and, you know, you're going to make that team. You're going to make that team. Yeah.
Why do you think women have to work harder, in the sense that they have to have another job and play rugby league? Why do you think they have to work more than men do?
I don't know if we have to work more. Like, you know, I'm not taking away from the men. Like, they've worked hard to get where they are, and, you know, they train hard and they have a lot of pressure on them as well. Like, I mean, slowly we're getting there. We're getting there with the working and everything like that. But like, you know, we've got it easier than what the women before us had. Like, they were, you know, I'm lucky enough, I have an amazing boss that, you know, she lets me take time off work and she lets me finish work early. And I think a lot of people are accepting, you know, that we are doing this, and they're like, okay, yeah, you know, a lot of these girls have been able to get time off work where, you know, maybe a couple of years ago might have not been the same.
Yeah. How do you manage that stress of your own job and then playing rugby league, and then after you play rugby league, going back to your job again?
Yeah, it's a bit of a juggle. You know, I think you've just got to manage it because you can get really tired. Like I used to come to work and I was exhausted. Like, this was me working full time, driving to Brisbane, doing another training, and then, you know, just, you know, coming home and not being exhausted. It was really hard. Like, I was getting home at like, you know, 10:30, 11, then getting up, you know, and going to work and dealing with a whole day of work. And then, you know, the outside work of doing an extra training to, you know, think that I had to be on top of another person, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it'd be very, very hard, and a lot of driving in the car. How do you deal? I have done a little bit of research of online. I've seen a couple of comments come up to people about women's rugby league. And one of the comments that keeps coming up is that women shouldn't look this way, as in, I guess, a masculine looking body. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't reckon anyone should say how or how not we should look. Look, I love seeing muscles on women. Like, I'm just like, that is amazing, because I know how hard it is and how hard you have to train to get those muscles. Like, you know, in the preseason, I was in the gym pretty much every day. Like, I was trying to lift these big weights, and, you know, I was doing it with my partner, and I would try and compete with him to do my weights. And I know that, you know, it's not even doing it for looks. It's doing it because we're about to get hit. We want to be strong. Like, you have to be strong to take those hits and to hit someone too. So, you know, I don't think anyone has the right to say how or how not we should look.
Yeah. And what would you say to little girls that are probably looking at these messages and going, well, I don't want to look masculine if that's the way that people think of me?
I guess just do what you want. Like, you know, it's sort of, you don't look at the comments. Like, I've been told, you know, if you read the good comments, you've got to read the bad comments too. So it's just like, you just don't look at comments. Like, people are going to say stuff and you're just like, wow, what a dickhead, or whatever. It is what it is. And like, you know, it's even women. Some women are like, I don't like muscle on women. And I'm like, that's your choice. Whatever. It is what it is. What you think is something, you know, but I'm there like, wow, good on you. I know how hard that is to, you know, get that way. And if you want to be that way, awesome.
And what would you say to your younger self?
Keep doing the extras. Like, you know, that when someone else is tired, do that extra run and just keep training hard, and, you know, you're going to get there. Don't give up.
Yeah. Do you think that you should have worked on your mental health in the earlier years to help you get through a lot of the tough things that you did?
I guess I didn't know that this was going to happen to me. This was the whole thing. I didn't know that I had that sort of thoughts. I think you're just so used to it, and then it just hits you. But knowing what I know now, I think I just would have told myself, you know, just you've got this. It's fine. Like, things are going to be thrown at you, and you just work through them.
Yeah. And I did see a ring on the finger.
Yes, about time.
So does that mean you're engaged, I'm guessing?
Yes, I'm engaged. I've been with my partner for 7 years. So I was 16 or something. And yeah, we have a fur baby, my cat Earl. But yes, no wedding plans yet. Trying to get through COVID first and everything. But yeah, so.
And he's been really supportive throughout your journey.
Yeah, like at the start, he, you know, and this is the thing, he had no idea what was happening to him. Like, he had no understanding of why I was being like this. Like, I remember laying in the bed with him, and we had pizza one night, and I just crying in the bed next to him saying, I'm fat. He doesn't understand. He's like, you're not fat. Like, what do you want about? And I remember, you know, having one of my anxiety attacks in front of him, and him panicking and not knowing, and had to go run up and get my mum, and like my mum coming down and talking to me, and he not knowing what the hell is happening. Why am I not why am I doing this? And then like him understanding it, because, you know, I am so open with it, and, you know, if I'm feeling away, he's so supportive now and understanding what I'm going through, and understanding, you know, how to help me as well. Like, and the thing is, if I wasn't open, he would just be like, you're just being dramatic. Like, why are you saying this? You know, but, you know, just being open with him and telling him, you know, it's just something that I can't get out of my head.
Yeah.
So
just quickly before we go, I wanted to ask a personal question. You said that you're on medication. Do you think that helps you, and that did support you during your tough period?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I've tried to come off it, and there is no way I'm coming off it. Coming back to my family, like my sister's on it, my mum's on it, you know, I have family that's, you know, we're all on it, sort of thing. And if I don't have it like, it's something I'm probably battling with, is if I don't have it, I miss it for a day, my personality change 100%. I can't not have it. Like, it's, I'm a totally different person on it, and you can see it. My family knows straight away if I'm not on it. I'm very aggravated. I'm not nice. I won't get out of bed. I'll cry instantly. Like, something can happen and I'll start crying. I could be at training and nothing happened, but I can feel I'm about to cry, and my chest tightens up and everything. So yeah, I've accepted that I have to have it. My memory is not good. So yeah, it's a very big thing. I have to make sure I have it every morning.
Yeah. Why do you think some people are ashamed to take medication?
I think it just sort of, you know, people who don't understand about mental health and everything, I think they're just like, you don't need that. Like, you know, why do you don't need that. Just don't take it, sort of thing. And I remember people saying, like, not knowing about mental health and just saying to me, why are you like, what, you don't need that. And I'm like, trust me, once you have this, you will understand, and you may never get it. And I hope you don't ever get depression, but if people don't understand it, they just straight away go, you're just being dramatic. Like, you don't need it. Just stop it, you know?
And on the last question, so when can we see you play again?
So I'm playing this week. We're versing the Dragons. Ooh. So that's going to be a very exciting game. Yep. But yeah, I'll be running on there. So yeah.
And is that on television or?
That's on Channel 9, I'm pretty sure. 4 o'clock, I think, New South Wales time. So 3 o'clock Queensland. So yeah, be exciting. I'll get to play again. So we played the Warriors last week, and we got the win, which was awesome. And then so hopefully we get the win this game. I think it'll be tough because the Dragons lost, so they're going to come out firing. But yeah, so it'll be good.
You'll come out even fierier, if that's a word.
Yes, 100%. We let in 2 tries last week, so they're very serious. So yeah.
And you're serious as well? You're excited to play?
I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited to play. Nervous, but nerves are good. Nerves means you're ready. And if I wasn't nervous, I'd be kind of worried because, you know. But yeah, it'll be really good.
Awesome. So everyone out there, I'm so happy that I got to speak with Jess today, and you can also find her on Saturday. Saturday playing the Dragons. So tune in 4 p.m. New South or 3 p.m. Queensland. So good luck, Jess. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate your time.
No, thank you for talking to me.
No, my pleasure. And for everyone out there, thank you for joining us as well today for our 5th Secret Sunday session.